Hello Cardfighters, Chris here with Vanguard Central Academy. Welcome back, and this time we're going to be talking about guarding basics. Shoutouts to Rierto Diablo for asking for this video. Hopefully this video can help you and other guys who are having trouble guarding new players getting back into the game, whatever it may be. So we've got some Neo-Nectar cards to help explain some stuff. And I'll try to avoid the, my face so that cards aren't hiding under it. Alright, so with our field, Vanguard, we're always going to assume is 26, and then I've got some nice little dice to help keep track of powers. It might be a little hard to see, I know the coloring is not that great, but maybe squint a little and you'll be able to see them. So assuming these are 16,000s, and this is a 26,000. So guarding, in my mind, it really comes down, there's kind of like three main things you want to think about, and then one basic rule to follow. And that one basic rule is how I started guarding, and then I got better at guarding by seeing when it was working, when it wasn't. So the basic rule for me of guarding, it does not work quite as well these days. But when I started, it was like around Limit Break era. The kind of strategy was you want to guard the rear guards and then take Vanguard until you're at like 4 damage. Because once you're at 4 damage, then a single crit from Vanguard could spell your doom. So and Vanguard, you have to spend extra cards, you have to put down extra shield to guard it because of the drive checks, you're not sure what's going to come. So that was the basic strategy. Wait, keep no guarding till you're at 4 damage, no guarding the Vanguard specifically, and guard the rear guards so that you're not taking extra damage. Of course, there's some situations where you can't do that. You'll learn quickly that if you follow this to the T, you're going to end up not having anything on your own turn because you guarded with important cards you're going to need to use, and that's the great thing I like about that rule is for beginner players. Maybe if you're getting back into the game, it's a good way to see what's going well, what's not going well, and quickly learning from there. So example, right, again, 16, 26, 16. If they attack 16, you're gonna guard that. If they attack 26 and you are at 3 or less damage, you want to no guard that. Sure, they have a chance to double crit you, but it's all part of the learning experience. And then you're gonna guard this. So if you're having trouble, first I would definitely say to start off the basics, no guard Vanguard until you're at 4 damage or more, obviously, and make sure you're guarding those rear guards so you're not taking extra damage. You're saving a bunch of shield by not guarding Vanguard. So, where do we go from there? There's the 3 things that I really think break down what guarding is. Alright, so starting with the first one, we want to guard low to high. So we're adding these 5k powers here to add on top of what we remember, 16, 26, 16. So in this situation, you're staring down, either their Vanguard's already attacked, maybe they got the 3 triggers, that's why these columns are bumped up. There's a 21 column, it's got the +5, and there's a 26 column, it's got the +6. So you're thinking to yourself, alright, well I gotta guard one of these because I'm at 4 damage. Pretend, just pretend. There's definitely people I've seen, let's see, attack here, 20, 21, and they take this one and then have to guard the 26. Don't do that. Like, I know it's tempting, you're like, oh, but like damage triggers and stuff, right? Which we'll get to damage triggers, that's like part 3, right? But in this specific scenario, we'll bring up damage triggers really quick. If this 21 hits you, and you get a 5,000 bonus from your damage trigger, this attack is also going to be 21. So it's the same thing. You're still going to have to guard a 21. You might as well just guard this 21 and then take the 26. Now, of course, there's ways your opponent can play around this, but that's a really good basic rule to stick with this. The exception would be if you're at 4 damage and you guard the 21, then your opponent might swing this 26 at a rear guard to prevent you from getting counterblast, or because they know they can't kill you, something like that, right? Well, that's where step 2 comes in. You want to think about how much counterblast you need for the next turn. So we'll go back to the same thing, same example. You have no counterblast. Your opponent's got a 21 and they've got a 26. You need that counterblast to go on your next turn. You need it. So when they attack 21, you might just want to take this one, just so you get your guaranteed counterblast. And then this one's probably going to swing at Vanguard. Yeah, you have to drop that 5k extra shield to guard the 26 over the 21. But since you got your counterblast, your next turn's going to be better. So guarding is a lot of setting up for the next turn. Because like I said, they could attack this 21 and you guard it, and they swing the 26 at your rear guard, so you down an important rear guard, and you don't have counterblast for your next turn. This can be, alleviated by doing things like unflipping perfect guards. You can guard this one with an unflipping... Oh, they're kind of going off the bottom there. You can guard this one with an unflipping perfect guard. You got your one counterblast. You're happy. And the guy's like, oh, well, he's got his counterblast already. I might as well just swing at Vanguard. And then you could just take that one. So, it's not a perfect world. There's a lot of adapting to your opponent, thinking about what your opponent might do in guarding. But the basics, step 1, think that the first suggestion, you got to think about guarding low to high. You want to guard the 21 instead of the 26. Especially if you're at 5 damage, there's no excuse there. Well, then you have to guard everything. But low to high, even if you're at like 3 damage, whatever it is, guard the low ones and take the high ones. You're gonna save yourself a ton of shield that way. And then you're gonna come across situations like I explained where you need to think about counterblast. So after you've gotten used to guarding low, taking high, you're gonna start thinking about counterblast, the second suggestion, right? So that's probably should be the third suggestion. I think that's the more in-depth one. But if they're attacking you like this, and you know this guy's tricky, he's gonna do something tricky if you guard this, and he's gonna not want to give you that counterblast. So you're just gonna be safe. Take that counterblast that you need to clutch out the game, push it out, and then go ahead and block that one. So that's another thing to think about, is how much counterblast you need. And then the third thing you need to think about is damage triggers. This is not necessarily so important in the late game of the stages, like in this situation where they've got really high powered numbers already. Not really something you need to think about. This is really for the early game scenarios, if they have weak multi-attacks, for example, Gear Chronicle. I was about to say Gear Paladins, which is what I like to call them. Because they call stuff from the Superior Call from the DAG. It's Paladins, right? Alright, so I don't have gear, so I can't really show like a nice example of that. But you can pretend your opponent has a bunch of, like, say they've got, how are we gonna do this? Say they've got 11 and 11 here. And like, they've got more 11s coming at you somehow. Then what you might want to do is, if you're still, pretty low on damage, you could take the first 11, and then you have the chance to get a damage trigger. If you get it, you block off the other, like, four or whatever, 11s, and then that saves you, three 5k shields. Just for taking 1 damage. That's pretty good, because usually you're guarding with like your own important units and stuff for those 5ks. But then of course if you don't, then it sucks, because you still gotta guard them all. So that's one situation where you want to think about damage triggers. If they've got a lot of little puny attacks coming at you, you might want to consider taking the first, try to get that damage trigger so you don't have to waste cards guarding the rest of them. But really, we're talking about early game. And there's a lot of ways that this can go around. that this can play out. So we're gonna kind of sneak, so you can see the starter. You don't have to see all of it. This is a very common setup you'll see early game. People who like to rush you, you're probably, if you have opponents that like to rush you probably know this setup. They got Grade 2, Grade 2, and Vanguard, right? You know what it is. And they're going to attack you with this rear guard. And what are you going to do? You're going to no guard it. Well, 9 times out of 10 you're going to no guard it. I say 9 times out of 10 because I think there's always an exception to everything. There's a lot of different ways to play this game. There's a lot of things you need to consider. Alright, so when you take this damage, right, if you get that damage trigger, it's going to prevent this attack entirely. And it's going to buff you up to either 12 or 14. If you're at 12, you probably still take this attack. But if you're at 14, you're even with them, so you can drop a 10k shield and no pass this. And then if they don't hit any triggers, you just took 1 damage, you use a 10k and you block their whole aggressive turn, and you can punish them. You just punish them the next turn, you know? That's really good. So when this happens, personally, I'm always taking this first attack. Now, if you're playing against me, you know this now. You can abuse this by just being like, well, I want him to take damage, so I'm just gonna do this. But that's because it's really good to hit a trigger here and block this off. And it's not like a terrible investment because you still take this. You're taking 2 damage because you're probably gonna take this too. But even if you don't get a trigger, this attack is pretty easy to guard anyway. So it's not the worst thing in the world. If you have a bunch of shield in your hand, obviously you could guard both of these and Vanguard. Not going to object to that possibility. But I would suggest trying to take this, because a lot of times what happens is I'll see players guard this and then take this. And I'm like, why? Did you even think about it? So if you're doing that, and not to like berate you or anything, but it hurts me. So by stopping doing this, you're gonna be like, oh, cool. Now if Chris is ever watching my game, he's not gonna be like, oh, what are you doing? Because if you're gonna take one of these attacks anyway, it might as well be the first one, so you can hope for a damage trigger. So definitely guard. Take this one. Just take that one. Okay, I'm just rambling along about how I hate people who guard this attack and then take this attack, and then if they hit a trigger, it triggers me. Okay, I'm getting too worked up over this. But that's the third thing you need to think about is damage triggers. If I hit a damage trigger here, is it gonna make my life easier for the rest of the turn? There's some examples of this in like late game scenarios where you might even just be like, well, I've looked at all the attacks that are coming. I've seen all this. I can predict all that, and there's no way I can live. But I'm already at 5 damage. He's already got an attack swinging at me. If I heal here, then all these attacks that are coming, they're gonna be 5k guard easier. And yeah, I'm betting on a 6 damage heal, but I already know I can't live. I might as well take that. So remember, if you're beginning out, beginning the game, getting back into the game, stick to the 3 damage rule. If you're 3 damage or less, guard the rear guards, take that Vanguard attack, save yourself some shield. You're gonna have a great time not wasting a bunch of shield on Vanguard that you don't have to. Especially if you are already. Then you can start thinking about those 3 things. We got low to high, same as attacking. Don't waste time guarding the high attacks and taking the low attacks. Do the opposite. Guard that 11, take the 21. Don't take the 11 and then guard the 21. I've seen that too. It hurts me. It pains me, so don't do it. Think about how much damage you need for the next turn. Do I need 3 damage to do my best combo? Do I need 2 damage to do my best combo? Do I not have any damage? I really just need 1 so I can do anything? Think about that. Your opponent may or may not be thinking about that depending on what they're doing. But think about how much counterblast you need, guard accordingly so you can either guarantee it or weigh the options like, well, it's not really worth it to just take this attack because it's going to put me in a bad situation, even though I can't do much next turn. And lastly, think about damage triggers. If you got a lot of attacks coming and you're looking at your hand, you're looking at your hands, back of your hands, the front of your hands, looking at your hands upside down, and you're just like, this is gonna be bad if I have to guard all these attacks. Try taking the first one. Try to see if you get that damage trigger. Keep in mind the damage trigger. It's always gonna be important. And don't forget about it. Once you get it, don't be like, oh, well, this attack's 21, I gotta drop 5k and a 10k, and you're just looking at your hand like, oh man. Don't forget that 5k is still there and you only need the 10k. Don't do it. Be smart. Be smart, kids. And not kids, but just think about it. So we got that recap real quick. 3 or less, take it. Load up, guard the low attacks, take the high attacks. Think about how much damage you need, how much counterblast you're going to use the next turn. Remember to watch out for damage triggers. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. Comment down below your own secret guarding strategies to help the other people out. Hit that thumbs up if the video helped you out. If you liked the video, stay subscribed for more content like this. I got a lot coming out. I'm super inspired lately, and there's a lot of judge bouts coming. Be prepared. Of course, shout outs to the patrons on Patreon for helping support this content. Really appreciate them supporting what I do. It means a lot to me. Keep on learning, keep on having fun, and I'll see you in another video.